We're broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
The Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
Middle Tennessee Electric, serving to make life better.
Visit MTE.com.
This is the WGNS Action Line. Talk Rutherford County News
since 1947.
The WGNS Action Line. Now your host, Scott Walker.
And today we have got guests in studio from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, and I believe one of the items we'll be talking about this morning is the K-9 unit and what the K-9 does each and every day. And we have with us today Captain James Davis and Sergeant David Ashburn. How are y'all doing today?
Doing terrific, sir.
Good, sir.
What all is happening this time of year? What's the most predominant thing you're seeing at the Sheriff's Office?
Right now, we've acquired 2 new dogs that we're going to start training with. We just certified a new dog named Crash. He just certified through USPCA Patrol, and he's going to be starting detection work soon. We just brought back 2 dogs from California. They're going to be starting detection work soon. So we're adding 3 new dogs to the department. And then last year, we certified 4 new handlers. So we're adding new dogs to the street and making our K-9 unit a little bit bigger to provide assistance to officers for the county.
I'm curious, with Bonnaroo just leaving town, was there any crazy happenings with that?
There always is. Usually the Monday after Bonnaroo is pretty crazy for Rutherford County.
I guess on the interstate?
Yeah, the interstate and people just kind of trying to find their way back home from the party.
While still high and drunk. Yeah. I'm not saying everybody there is high or drunk, trust me. But I do understand there's a good percentage who do partake in that while they're at Bonnaroo, and they're leaving still probably some in that state.
Yes, when I was on patrol, it was always interesting to work day shift Monday morning after Bonnaroo. You never knew what you were going to run into.
Some of the vehicles that drive into Bonnaroo, I don't know how they make it as far as some of them do. I talked to some a couple of years ago, and the camper they were in, I don't know how it made it, even a mile, but they were saying they drove it like 500 miles or something to get here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what types of arrests have occurred over the last couple of months that you've been a part of that have been maybe a little different?
Well, so arrest, I'm the K-9 trainer.
I guess arrest involving where the K-9 unit had to be called out.
So I would say the biggest thing with the dogs is the presence of the dog itself. A lot of times offenders will not comply with police officers. I mean, even police officers that may have guns drawn on them, they won't comply with that police officer until the dog shows up. And then they're like, well, wait a minute. I haven't done enough for this person to shoot me or this officer to shoot me, but they may let that dog go on me. I'm going to go ahead and surrender. That's the biggest thing is, deterrence. I think, a deterrent is the dog just showing up, the presence of the dog, the intimidation factor, and that dog barking. And they're like, okay, I'm going to comply with this police officer now because that dog's here.
I can imagine that, because if I were a criminal, my thought would be I could see them letting that dog loose before they're going to shoot me.
Yeah,
I don't know what goes through the head of somebody at a traffic stop who committed something serious, and they're at that point. But I guess I could see that happening.
And our dogs we have 11 dogs in the department, and they all have different specialties. A lot of them are dual purpose. We have 9 dual purpose dogs. When I say dual purpose, that means all the dual purpose dogs are trained in apprehension patrol. And then we have a bloodhound named Fred, his job is search and rescue. And then we have a single purpose narcotics dog. His job is just narcotics. He works with our narcotics unit.
I can't say I'd be intimidated by a bloodhound.
No. But Fred has his place. He's definitely well known throughout this county. Everybody loves Fred, but he's a vital resource just because we won't use Fred to go after a violent offender. We use Fred to go find missing children, missing people, missing hikers, missing people with medical conditions that are lost. Just because when Fred finds you, his reward is chicken. So not to bite you. He won't bite you. He'll lick you, he'll howl, and he gets his chicken.
When an officer is in a position to where after they have determined, well, there's probable cause to pull this person over, they get the car pulled over, and then they see or smell something that says, there's a presence of drugs of some type. Maybe they see something in the center of the console. I don't know. But once they're at that point, do they still have to ask, can I search your vehicle if they literally see something in the car?
So that's an exigent circumstance. And if I see the presence of a narcotics, then that's an exigent circumstance to a search warrant, and I can search your car. I don't have to have consent or a warrant on a vehicle at that point. We use the dogs. There's another exigent circumstance called plain smell. The courts have ruled that a trained police officer and a trained canine team, properly trained and certified, can be used for a plain smell exigent circumstance. We could use that dog to let us know that the presence of those trained narcotics that he's trained to find is there. So there's 7 exigent circumstances. The one you're talking about is plain sight, and we use the dog for plain smell. So the dog is telling us, yes, the presence of narcotics is there, which gives us an exigent circumstance to search your vehicle.
Now, I'm guessing the majority of drugs out there are not drugs that just the average person can smell upon walking up to a car.
Yes.
I mean, marijuana is the only one that stands out, or I guess crack cocaine would be one. Things that you smoke, in other words.
Yes, methamphetamine, especially if you've smoked it, it's very, very strong chemical smell. You could smell the methamphetamine. Outside
of all the drugs that you could literally smell, what can the dog pick up on once the dog's at the scene?
So the dog is trained on narcotics that are not prescription-based narcotics. So the narcotics that we train on are narcotics that you're not supposed to have. Nobody is legally supposed to have these narcotics at all. So if you could get a prescription for them, then we're not training the dogs on them.
Okay. Cocaine, for an example.
You can't get a prescription for cocaine. Yes, cocaine is one of the odors, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana.
How do you, obviously the dog has to originally smell the smell of cocaine in order to know what it smells like. So how do you go about training for that? Because I'm kind of stupid here, but it's
a very, very simple process.
Because I'm thinking the dog's going to inhale the cocaine if he sniffs it.
It's not rocket science. So the dogs. I use a pizza analogy. When you walk into a room, you smell pizza. Mm-hmm. The dogs can break down odors individually. So when they walk into the room, they don't smell pizza. They smell 1,000 different odors in that room. When they smell pizza, they smell the onions, they smell the tomatoes, they smell the cheese, they smell all the ingredients inside of the sauce, all the ingredients inside of the dough. They can break down every single odor inside of that pizza. So what we do is we have to find something that dog will work for, whether it's a toy, whether it's food, whether it's praise. What drives this dog to have fun, and what does he want more than, or he or she want more than anything in this world? Most of the time it's a toy. So all we do is we bring them into the room. We'll have cocaine in a box, and we bring the dog over to the box. We tell them to sniff the box. We tell them to sit, and we give them a toy. And then we do that over and over and over again. And then pretty soon they're like, wait a minute, when I smell this odor and I sit, this fool gives me a toy. And then we'll have 2 boxes. And then we go to a box that doesn't have anything in it. And then we go to the box that has the cocaine. And pretty soon he's like, wait a minute, there's that odor again. I'm going to sit and I get a toy. And now the learning has begun. And then we go simple to complex. Then we start planting them everywhere. We start planting them around the rooms. We take that odor outside. We take that odor to the vehicles. They progress into certification level.
That's a lot of training and a lot of boxes, because you're also talking about, I guess, slowly introducing methamphetamine, slowly introducing, whatever the next drug is.
Mm-hmm. We have to imprint them on every odor, and especially with explosives. We have an explosive dog too. We have to imprint, and we're going to be starting training with these 2 new dogs. One of them will be an explosive dog. So we'll do the same thing, but there's just more odors with explosives.
More odors I would have imagined more odors with the drugs instead.
No, it's just, explosives, it's a different path with explosives, because we're not using the explosive dog to establish probable cause to search your vehicle. But if an explosive dog alerts on your vehicle, that doesn't give us a right to search it, because we're not using him to establish probable cause to search it, because you may have a legal right to have TNT. You may be an explosive handler or something. So the reason we only have 4 odors with narcotics dog is because there's no reason why you should have those 4 odors that we're looking for. And then there's, on the explosive side, there's all kinds of different materials out there that can make a bomb. So like my dog Pablo is trained on 19 different odors.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and a lot of upkeep. So.
Again, talking with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office this morning, in the movies, you always see an officer pull somebody over and then they'll make a threat. Hey, I'm going to call the dog out here if you don't start talking to me. How does it work in real life, though? I mean, in those situations where somebody out there making a traffic stop needs to call a canine unit in, when does that actually happen in real life? Because I know the movies are a little far-fetched.
It happens pretty periodically, pretty frequently, but our officers have a reason to call for a dog. They're not going to just pull somebody over and just be like, well, I'm just going to call a dog just because I think so. Like they're questioning the person. He may be coming from a known drug area. He may have a long history of drug abuse or drug arrests. He may see some things in the car that indicate that this guy uses drugs. And then he's always probably going to ask for consent. Hey, can I search your car? If he doesn't have a plain smell or a plain sight or anything like that, he's going to ask for consent. When he denies consent, that's when the dog is going to be called, just to see if the dog alerts to the presence of one of the 4 trained odors. And again, going back to the plain smell concept.
I know in some court cases around the country, judges have said, well, it took too long for the canine unit to get there to the scene, and it's not the length of a normal traffic stop. So how do you go about doing all of that? And it sounds like you have to do it within a certain window of time.
We're going to carry out the stop, and if the dog can't get there, the dog can't get there. I mean, it's not always. We're not going to hold anybody any longer than we have to. We can't. We're not going to detain you. We're going to, if we've pulled you over for a reason, we're going to continue the stop. And once our business is done, if the dog's not there, then the dog's not there. And sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes we don't have a dog working. Sometimes we have a dog on the other side of the county who just can't get there.
Man, there are so many things that go into law enforcement. I mean, the list of details you have to follow is quite extensive.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, everything.
You have to constantly be learning in law enforcement. I guess that's every job, but particularly law enforcement, you have to stay updated on the laws and the case laws and training, and you have to constantly be learning.
You have to be a master of patience too.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that's a big thing.
Yeah. You can't let little things get to you.
See, I don't think I'd be able to do that. I mean, that would be a little tough. I'd have some kind of, I don't know, I have to go home and box the wall or something at the end of the day.
I've learned to separate my work life from my home life. When I go home, I'm not a cop. Some police officers can't do that. Some police officers are cops 24/7. I've learned that, when I go home and take my uniform off, I'm a human being, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a person, and I can't be a cop all the time.
When it boils down to what you do each and every day, do you have to literally, break it down and look at it as a regular traditional job when it comes to, well, that suspect got away? Or when it comes to, I'm glad I arrested that person. How do you go about looking at each and every situation?
It's not personal.
Yeah.
It's just a job. It's not personal at all.
See, that would be hard for the majority of people out there to do, I think. But maybe once you start down that path, it gets a little bit easier over time.
Yeah, and experience. I mean, when I first started, it bothered me. But as time goes on, it's just, you win some, you lose some.
And I guess you almost have to laugh at some of them, because there's some strange stuff that happens.
Yes, sir.
What is maybe one of the strangest things you've seen over the years?
That's an open-ended question. I don't think radio stations long enough.
Well, the first one that comes to mind, I can't talk about on the radio. So
maybe partially talk about it.
I mean, I've been involved in countless situations that I've been at the sheriff's office for 20 years, so Rutherford County is an interesting place.
I think everywhere is,
If you can dream it up, we've probably seen it.
Are you ever surprised by some of the things that you do come across?
Not now.
Not anymore. No, sir. It's a different day and age. 2026 is a different day and age when I started in 2006.
It has changed a lot.
Yes,
Murfreesboro has changed a lot. I'm not originally from here. I moved here
I don't think anyone is.
I moved here in 2006, but from 2000, I mean, I could imagine what it was like in the 90s, but it has changed so much. Just the roads, everything, the infrastructure. I remember the whole Manson Pike area was just completely different. Everything has changed Rutherford County is growing very fast.
I mean, I still remember the days where we had like 49,000 residents, but I remember the days where if you got pulled over and maybe it was speeding or who knows what, but the officer would often let you go and maybe even threaten to call your parents if you were underage. You know, I mean, that's how law enforcement used to work, at least in a smaller community like what we used to be. But that's impossible to do today because there's, first of all, well, we can see it each and every day. Kids do not follow what their parents do anymore. They do not listen at home. They don't listen to law enforcement. I mean, that's a big change right there.
It is a big change. And like you said, I hate to say it, but I can't rely on the parent to discipline them anymore. So, like I may let them go with the parent. The parent may be their enabler and the one letting them do whatever criminal activity that they're doing. Yeah. They may be the one teaching them how to do it. So,
are you seeing more younger people get arrested these days?
Yes. Especially, I mean, you can see the news in Rutherford County with the juveniles. You see it a lot in Nashville. We work hand in hand with Metro Police a lot, and their main problem is the juvenile crime.
And of course, those juveniles grow up, and if they're on that path, a lot of them continue that way.
Yes, sir.
Unless they get stopped. In those situations where they do get stopped, are there some situations where you can call a parent to come in, or is it typically where you've got to take them to juvenile detention, or are there situations that you don't have to do that?
It's always officer discretion. Most of the time, it's officer discretion, and I'm a big believer in that. But yes, you could, but like I said, it's based off the officer and the crime.
And then going back to the canines, how do you go about picking the officers who will be with the canines?
So we have an interview process. We have a PT test. We have a written exam, and we have an interview. And we'll select the handler first, just so we can get to know the handler and his temperament or his or her temperament and what type of person they are. Right now, we're purchasing dogs from Alda Horse Canine in Riverside, California. A guy named Mike Reaver. He's a very good trainer, trained for special forces, trained dogs for the military. He goes overseas and purchases dogs, and then we'll know the handler, and then we will go to California when he'll ship dogs back from overseas, and then we'll go and pick the dog that we think is going to best suit the handler that we have.
So the handlers that you pick, how close is that bond between them and the dog?
Oh, I'm a dog handler too, also the trainer. Pablo is my dog, and he is with me 24/7. We're together everywhere we go. Like, he's with me more than my wife is. So. And then how many?
That's a sad statement, right? How many years is that same canine usually on the police force or the sheriff's department?
It depends on the dog. If typically 8 to maybe 10 years old. We like the dog to be at least 2 years old, around 2 years old before they start training. So we could probably get 8 years out of a dog if they work till they're 10. But it's really just if they start to show signs of they can't do it anymore, or they start having medical issues, then we're going to retire them. And when they retire, they typically go home with the handler. My last dog, Venture, he retired and he lived 5 more years after his retirement with me.
And then once they retire that dog, is that same handler getting another dog at that point?
Yeah. So, they could put in and go through the interview process again. But, they're going to have a leg up because they have experience. But, we're going to, once a dog retires, then we'll open the position up for interviews again. And then that dog handler could put in for it.
What are some of those situations where you have seen where that canine has been brought in and maybe it even led to a life being saved?
There's countless situations. I would have to say with my dog, my last dog, Venture, his tracking abilities were phenomenal. Just finding people that have went off in the woods. He even tracked a suicidal subject one night that was armed.
Before he committed suicide?
Yes, and we found him. He tracked him, and he was hiding in a corner of a house in a neighborhood. And we came around the corner, and he surrendered to us before, but he had threatened to commit suicide and ran off, and we found him before he did it.
And it was because of the dog?
Yes. Yeah, it was 100% because of the dog. We didn't have a direction of travel or anything, and he took us right to him.
Do you ever follow up on incidents like that? Because it seems like the natural progression of curiosity would make you wonder, where is that person today? I mean, did he make it?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough too sometimes. A lot of times we have to rely on the investigators to keep us informed of what happened afterwards. If the case goes over to our investigations unit, we'll talk to the detectives. But working patrol, it's tough because you're on to the next call and on to the next call and on to the next call, and there's a lot of follow-ups and a lot of situations that would consume you if you continue to follow up with them.
I never even imagined a canine being used to track down somebody who's suicidal, but I was talking to somebody, I guess it was last week, and they were telling me the number of suicides that happen each and every day would really surprise you.
Yes, sir. It's we have a co-responder unit now with the sheriff's office that I think is pretty vital and has probably helped a lot with situations like that. We have mental health professionals that actually ride with the patrol officers and respond to situations like that and speak to them and get them help. So I think that is making an impact and helping out with that. When I would patrol, mental health cases, mental health situations were predominantly a lot of our calls.
It seems like problems related to mental health, it seems like they have grown exponentially over the years. And I don't know if it's just because our population's increased or is there more reason why than just that? Of course, anybody with a large population could say they've got a lot of mental health problems out there.
We could spend hours talking about that. So yeah. And I think COVID was a tough time for everybody. And a lot of situations come out of that. And mental health situations come out of COVID.
I think we saw just a huge number of situations where the numbers of those with anxiety just skyrocketed. Depression, those numbers went up as well. And I think they continue to go up today. I don't know if it's just COVID that kicked it off or what, but those do continue to go upwards.
Yes, sir. I agree with you.
How do those play a role in law enforcement?
Mental health, mental instability is, I would say it's involved in almost 80% of the calls we go on. The person has some type of depression, anxiety, like you said, or schizophrenia or suicidal tendencies or something. It's a lot of the police-related activity or police-related calls deal with mental health.
And I'm sure a lot of those who you do get calls about, a lot of those probably are not even diagnosed yet. They may be at the beginning stages of schizophrenia because of some traumatic incident. Maybe family doesn't even know what to do yet.
Oh, yes, I agree. Yes, a lot of them are. And sometimes that's what it takes is law enforcement intervention for them to realize that, yes, they need help.
Captain Davis, now how long have you been at the sheriff's office?
I've been with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department for 22 years. I started in Cannon County in 98. So I've been a police officer for 27 years.
You have definitely seen a lot over those years then.
Yes, sir.
Now, Cannon County, it's not grown anywhere near as fast as Rutherford County, of course.
No, sir, it has not.
So what are some of the things that you've seen over the years that may have surprised you?
If you can think of it, we've seen it. It's hard to really talk about that on the radio and, give details of things. But anything that you could think about, these men and women that are in law enforcement are seeing it on a daily basis.
On situations like pursuits, are there still a lot of pursuits today?
There are some, but our policies are really strict on who, why, and how we can pursue people nowadays. So, and then there's so much traffic. It's quite dangerous for not only the officer, the suspect, the general public. So our policies keep a lot of that down now. And, at the end of the day, it's just really not worth it, chasing them.
It's harder and harder just to get across town. When you're not being pursued by a police vehicle, it's harder and harder to get across town.
Yes, it is.
Technology nowadays is, for us to chase you, like Captain says, we're endangering ourselves, we're endangering the public, we're endangering the suspect, and we have so much technology nowadays. We have other ways of finding people.
Of course, one of the things we hear about seems like in a lot of arrest cases, license plate readers. Mm-hmm. Now, does the Sheriff's Department have license plate readers?
We do.
So those come in, I'm sure, handy.
They do.
The use of drones, we're starting to hear more about law enforcement departments using drones to even arrive over the scene before you actually show up. Is that a direction that the Sheriff's Office is headed?
Our drone program is just kind of like our K-9 program. It's another tool that we have to use in any situation. So yes, we are using drones more now than...
I guess for a search and rescue, that'd be a huge huge thing.
And I know what you're saying about, I've heard agencies around the nation are using drones to actually as first responders. They'll have a pilot at the station themselves, and the call will come out, and they'll send a drone. The drones can fly 3 to 4 miles away from the station, and they'll have them stationed around the city to where the drone pilot can fly to the scene. Let's say a bank robbery. The drone can be there within a minute and give the information to the officers as they're arriving. And if the suspect flees or is leaving, then the drone, I think that is vital. And I do wish the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department would head that direction, but I don't know the plans.
And of course, with footage that a drone could capture and arriving on the scene before a deputy could get there, I mean, that's footage that could easily be used in court too, that I'm sure would be really helpful.
It'd be the same if having an aviation unit like Metro or THP has. I think it'd be a cheaper, more cost-effective way of having our own aviation unit, basically.
Much cheaper. I think back to high school, I never would imagine things like drones playing a role in law enforcement. Of course, we didn't have drones per se. We had remote control helicopters, remote control airplanes, but nobody ever talked about putting cameras on them and flying them several miles away from where you actually are standing. That just couldn't be done.
I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but I know that the capabilities are out there for them to fly miles away and have a pilot sitting at the sheriff's office flying it.
And of course, it has to be nowadays. There's a license you have to get in order to operate.
All of our drone pilots who have drone license, they have to go through FCC, I believe.
Or FAA. I'm sorry.
FAA, FCC is a radio term.
Radio. Yeah, that's what I'm used to.
But no, they're all licensed to fly drones. So
we got to take a short break, and then we will be right back. Again, from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office this morning, we've got Captain James Davis and then also Sergeant David Ashburn of the K9 unit. And just a second, we will be right back. And if you have questions that you texted in, we'll try to get to one or two of those. Our number 615-893-1450.
WGNS Murfreesboro. This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you.
Hi, this is Dan with Music World and Drummer's Den. Our prices are as good or better than the box stores. I don't think you'll do better by shopping online than you would by coming in. Something new we've just added to our repertoire is drum repairs. You can have drums cut, covered, rewrapped, new hardware. We will fix them, make them look like new again. I'd like to thank you for coming by to see us again at 2762 South Church, right across from the golf course. Music World and Drummer's Den. Thank you very much for being our customers.
Need a new set of tires? Head to Tire World, where you can buy now, pay later. Ask your Tire World experts in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne about their financing options.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling.
Get the Bridgestone affiliated retailer credit card.
My name is Mary Ann Letizia. I didn't drive at the other place I was at. Their transportation was kind of sketchy. This, you put a request in, he comes to get you, brings you back. The people here at Adams Place really seem to care. It's genuine. And they really seem to be interested in your life, your family, your likes, your dislikes.
This is Terry Deal. Come tour Adams Place and discover living a dream in your senior years.
The Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you. This is the WGNS Action Line with Scott Walker.
With us this morning from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, we have got Captain James Davis and Sergeant David Ashburn. During that break, we were talking about the price of a K9 for the Sheriff's Office, and that cost, I guess, covers the training for it and all that, because that's a lot of specialized training, isn't it?
Yes, sir. The training is done in-house with me, so we pay nothing for the training, just my position, my salary.
His time.
And my time, yeah. And but the dog themselves, yes, from Outer Horse K9, roughly $14,000. Just like Captain was saying, the price has gone up just because the sellers have, the tariffs and everything that they're having to deal with. When we were buying dogs 10 years ago, the price was between $9,000 to $12,000. So roughly around $14,000 is what we spend for a dog. And the reason we use Outer Horse is the dogs are coming usually with a basis training on them. And the reason we go overseas to get the dog. So In Europe, dog training is a sport to them. It's like NASCAR to us.
That's where all the fancy dog shows are,
yes,
too.
Yes, and so it's a tradition over there to train dogs and to go compete in these events. And it's like a family. These families will get involved with it, and they'll breed their dogs, and they'll go compete and win awards at stadiums with thousands of people watching. So those dogs are very well trained over in Europe. The bloodlines are great over in Europe, so that's why we go over there to find dogs that may be suited for police work, because a lot of the stuff that they do over there in the training kind of falls in line with what we want, the bite work, the obedience, and all that, the building search and apprehension and all that kind of falls in line with what we want the dogs for.
Makes sense.
So just like the dogs over here, yeah, there are vendors and there are trainers over here, but the bloodlines are significantly greater over there in Europe.
Recently, the Rutherford County Opioid Board, they approved the purchase of one of the dogs, right?
We did. We wrote a grant for a dual-purpose drug canine. We were awarded a grant, so that purchased one of our new canines that we just went to California and got.
Was that the first time the board had approved that?
Yes, sir. That was the first time we have actually wrote a grant for a canine.
It seems like in the past, all we really heard about with the opioid board, the majority of their grants went towards, programs and things like that to help people get off of opioid use from abusing opioids. But that falls right in line with part of the biggest problem, is catching the person who's dealing it.
They're doing a really good job of distributing that money to help not only education, but to combat narcotics.
And of course, the Rutherford County Board, they solely focus on programs and things here in Rutherford County. But the purchase of that dog, do you have a number as to how many arrests that dog participates in because of the use of the dog?
I don't have them with me.
All days, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I usually carry them around with me everywhere I go. But no, I could talk about our narcotics dog, Wiley. Throughout his career, he has seized thousands and thousands of pounds of cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and money. I would say money-wise, he is up in the millions that he has located. Wow. Him and his handler have won our narcotics canine team of the year several times. They've won it, I think, at least twice.
What are some of the larger amounts of drugs that the dog has helped uncover?
Marijuana is a big one. Now it's methamphetamine. I think that's starting to come back a little bit, just because we're doing a good job combating the heroin and opioid epidemic, that I think that a lot of the drug users and drug suppliers are starting to move back towards methamphetamine. So recently, there's been a lot of kilos of methamphetamine located.
Meth used to be the big one that was made in garages, in vehicles, and so forth.
Yes, the one pot method. That's when I started back in the 2010 era, it was a lot of the one pot methamphetamine method. But now it's, because of the borders and everything, it's so easy. It was so easy to bring it into the United States that a lot of it is being manufactured in other countries at big manufacturing plants that don't regulate it very well, and they're just bringing it right across the border to us. So we're not seeing a lot of the cooking one pot method meth labs that we used to see anymore, because they're just, like I said, being made overseas commercially and brought in.
So you're seeing high grades of meth
methamphetamine
being sold here,
being brought in through the Postal Service or through trucks or through ground or air or anything, however they can do it, however they can figure out how to bring it over.
Ever get calls to post offices, or do they usually have I know they have their own law enforcement agency of sorts, but do you physically get called in to Postal Service offices?
We work hand in hand with the postal inspector. He utilizes our teams a lot. A lot of the drugs come through postal, FedEx, UPS, the United States Postal System. It's a way for them to ship it. So,
have you been surprised at what people, maybe the amount of drugs that people have sent through FedEx, UPS, Postal Service? I'm curious. Is that something that happens regularly?
It happens. It happens every day.
Really?
Every day, and pounds of it. Kilos, 10 kilos, and it's, we try to stay updated on the way they're doing it, and try to stay current with the way they're doing it, but they always change. They're always changing how they're shipping it and using fake names, using fake phone numbers, using different drop locations, and it's very difficult to find the original source of where it came from.
I can imagine. We're already out of time. Again, with us this morning from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, Captain James Davis, and then also Sergeant David Ashburn. Thank you both for joining us this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Dozens of vendors, one local tradition.
Plump, juicy tomatoes.
The Farmers Market, every Tuesday and Friday.
Pick fresh this morning
at Lane Agro Park in Murfreesboro.
Farm fresh eggs.
The Rutherford County Farmers Market, open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.